There can't be many more agreeable places for a road tester to find himself than this. This is the most powerful, driver-focused, V12 engined performance car built by arguably the most famous car maker in the world ever. This is the Rolls-Royce Ghost Black Badge Series 2. The Black Badge thing is now quite well established for Rolls-Royce, being introduced on the first generation Ghost and the related Wraith GT in 2016. There have been Cullinan and Dawn Black Badges since. There's an all-electric Spectre Black Badge as well, but there's never been a Phantom Black Badge, which tells you quite a lot about the uniqueness of the big car's chauffeured customer base. More than a quarter of Rolls-Royces commissioned these days are now Black Badge models, so it's been a bit of a strategic success for the company. They tend to combine special materials and styling treatments with bolder cabin treatments than regular cars, and in most cases some subtle performance tuning upgrades as well. But this new Ghost has definitely upped the ante. So what does the Black Badge bit mean when it comes to defining how this Ghost drives? Because a standard Ghost is already a powerful car, right? It's already got big V12 engine, all-wheel steering, four-wheel drive, and what Goodwood calls planar suspension, which is a slightly mysterious way of describing a suspension system that has active self-leveling air suspension. It also has camera-based forwards reading of the road surface, so it's not just adaptive, it's active. And it has these clever strut top mounts which have secondary motion dampers in them, which help to keep the car even steadier than it might otherwise be, so cancel out lateral body movements and give this thing a really settled ride, irrespective of how complex the road surface is. So the Black Badge version has a retuned take on that planar suspension system. It's got a slightly shorter travel brake pedal, so that feels a bit sportier. It's got a noisier exhaust, and the V12 is making an extra 28 horsepower, I think, and just under 40 pounds-foot of torque. So it's up to just under 600 horsepower now, although that really only makes it a tenth of a second quicker from 0 to 62, and it makes for the same top speed of about 155 miles an hour, which is limited, obviously. So, is this more of a super saloon or a special edition? I think it's probably a bit more towards the latter, only because there's a limit to the extent that Rolls-Royce can put visual aggression on a car like this without making it less luxurious, less stately, less graceful. It's gone as far as it can, I think, and you can tell there are differences. If you look at the front of the bumper here, these lateral intakes are differently styled. They're a bit larger. They put a bit more cooling air through to the brakes, which have got lovely red calipers now. They sit behind enlarged 22-inch wheels that add a bit of stance and purpose. The other main distinguishing factor is all of this dark, polished trim that sits there in place of the usual high-gloss chrome for the Spirit of Ecstasy and the Pantheon grille and all the other Rolls-Royce parts. I don't usually go a bundle on black trim on cars, luxury cars like this, but there's something about the way Rolls-Royce does it and polishes it so beautifully, makes it really hard to dislike it, I have to say. It's also quite subversive, which I quite like. If you're a Rolls-Royce traditionalist and you like your chrome and your classic treatments, you probably won't like this. And that is entirely the point. So, what would that Rolls-Royce traditionalist make of this interior? Do you know what? I think they'd quite like it, because it's still very Rolls-Royce. It's not too kind of chavvy or turned up to 11 on the aggression scale. It's just the same luxury kind of treatment you expect from Rolls-Royce, with a little bit of edge. There's some nice colour to these lovely leather seats that just makes them pop a bit. There's this they call it technical carbon, this finish on the dashboard, which is basically an overlaid thread of carbon with metal fibres on top of bolivar wood, and it's not like anything that you'd see in a Ferrari, a Lamborghini, even a sort of a BMW M car or an AMG Merc. It is really lovely. Got a lovely glossy finish. It's polished like everything else in this car to a really fine shine. And as you'd expect, the seats are beautifully soft and comfortable and adjustable every which way. The back seats are just as good as the fronts, if not more. The driving position is classic Rolls-Royce. It's got a lovely big steering wheel. There aren't too many high performance touches in here. There's just the same sort of richness you'd expect of Goodwood, and a little bit more performance flavour. Now, the important thing to realise is you only get the benefit of the sportier suspension and the noisier exhaust and the beefed up brake pedal when you press this, the low button on the gear selector. Now that is a peculiarly Rolls-Royce button. You only see them on Rolls-Royces. It's kind of like an old-fashioned transmission mode, and it is in lieu of a sport mode for the car, or for the gearbox, or drive modes per se. You literally just press low, as I just have, and now you can hear that V12 is a little bit noisier, and it's kept in lower ratio, so it's revving a bit harder. And a little bit of the way the car was wafting along the road has been traded for a bit more body control, slightly lower stance on the road. There's a bit more heft and weight in the steering, and the gearbox has been recalibrated. So all of a sudden we have a nearly 600 horsepower, 2 3/4 ton, 5.5 metre Rolls-Royce that feels like it means business. It's still a little way from feeling like a super saloon, for obvious reasons, because it has to be a bit different, a bit more luxurious, a bit more genteel to drive. It's got this big diameter steering wheel with a fairly skinny rim. It's got a fairly gentle pace to it, so it doesn't go into corners in a sort of an agile, energetic way. It feels its size and its weight, and it wants to make you comfortable all of the time, because that's what Rolls-Royces do. But it can just do it in its normal, absolutely run-of-the-mill type way, or you can dial up that low mode and it can do it with a little bit more flavour and energy and intent. And I have to say, I quite like it. We're not driving particularly quickly here. This is a fairly complex road surface, but it's not asking massive questions of it. But the car's just got an extra level of body control and that little bit more driver feedback to keep you interested, to give the driver a bit more of a reason to enjoy himself. And what more does it need to do, really? It's still got to be a Rolls-Royce. It can just be a slightly more inviting one. So what does all that amount to? Well, this isn't clearly a super saloon with a Spirit of Ecstasy on the front, because it couldn't be. It's more like Ghost plus a bit. It's more like the Rolls-Royce that Zlatan Ibrahimovic or Tony Soprano would pick. It's a lovely, luxurious, special, super luxury saloon car with a bit more ego and a bit more edge. And that's a pretty special proposition, I've got to tell you. That's it for now. So thank you for joining me in this car. Thank you for watching and liking and subscribing, and I'll see you next time.